days at the stick. From who's got it better than us to brick by brick. It's always the 49ers way, from off-season to game day. Yeah, we talk back. It's the 49ers Cutback.
It's 49ers Cutback Podcast time, and it's time to talk about pick 61, Alex. There's going to be a lot of players that could be available there. The 49ers have their first pick in the second round, into the second round, pick 61. Where are the 49ers going to go, though?
I mean, there's tons of options. There's tons of ways to look at this. I mean, obviously, there's people who want the Niners to be aggressive and trade up, but we're talking about if the Niners just sit pat. They just sit tight at 61, which has happened in a few of the war rooms. It's happened in a couple of the mock drafts as well. That this could be options for the Niners at this spot, and there's a lot of ways to do it. Do you go about looking at edge rushers? Do you go after a wide receiver? Do you reach and take an offensive lineman per se that maybe isn't as high on boards, but you're absolutely in love with? There's a lot of ways to go about it. And look, you have to start with the names that are possibly going to be there and available. You have guys like Nick Bonito on the edge that are going to be a possibility. Jalen Petrie has been in that spot as well plenty of times, a safety prospect out of Baylor. There's Tariq Woolen, who has gone in those spots as well, and a guy who is a cornerback option that a lot of people could think could play in the nickel, but you've brought up and mentioned could potentially move back to safety as well. That's two safety potential prospects there. Nick Bonito, I think, is the one that's the most enticing because I think it's the most realistic of all the names that are possible. I could see people reaching early on a Tariq Woolen. I could see people reaching on a guy like Jalen Petrie a little bit earlier, whereas Nick Bonito feels like is maybe the underappreciated of the edge rushers, of the edge rusher group that's at the back end of that top tier of guys that could be sitting there for the 49ers that could add the speed off the edge they've been looking for.
Yeah, I'm going to kind of stick to what my philosophy has been the entire time, is I want to get an impact player at 61. What I have to do to get that guy is the question, you know what I mean? And that's really what it comes down to. If Nick Bonito's there, he's an impact caliber player. He's a supreme edge rusher with a lot of speed coming off the edge. He's a developmental guy. He's a situational pass rusher right now. He would need to develop into a 3-down, defensive end for you. However, that's not what you're looking for in getting this draft pick. You're looking for somebody that can get after the quarterback. Now, you did sign Kamoko Toure, so this is potentially a move that doesn't need to be made. So now you're going to look at the wide receiver position. This is where it gets interesting. The 49ers could look at the wide receiver position at 61, though. Which is that wide receiver that's going to be there? Potentially Alec Pierce, who I've seen mocked all the way back even into the third round. Sure. He's going to be there, the big, tall, fast receiver. We know that 49ers Twitter and 49er fans want Christian Watson. Where would they have to go up to get Christian Watson? That could be a possibility as well. I think the 49ers are going to aim and look at 4 or 5 potential players they want to target. If those players ever become a possibility, they could trade up. If Jalen Petrie makes it to 61, if Tariq Woolen make it to 61, they would be enough impact players to go ahead and draft them there. I do like what you said about Nick Bonito. I think he's another player as well. So I think that if any of those 3 players are there, those are good options for the 49ers. It might be a little rich for the offensive line. I'm not sure I would go offensive tackle there. You already have things established. You've drafted Jalen Moore as a potential guy to back up Mike McGlinchey. Well, I think 61 could be early for offensive line, but getting an impact wide receiver, edge rusher is what I would do.
Look, I agree with you there in that sense 100%. It feels like that's the route to go. Even a guy like John Mechie might be an option that's available there, that if the Niners are looking at the things that are available, looking at guys that could have the most impact, they're sitting there going, man, John Mechie, the things he can do with the ball in his hands, the route runner that he is, this just feels like it's a home run for us. Kyle may be sitting there going, this is a guy having on the top 40 in my board. I think he's a top 40 player in this draft. This is a steal right here at 61. The fact that he's still here and available, he may be absolutely in love with it. And that's the thing, right? Is we don't know who the Niners have on their boards in terms of where they ranked these players, where these players fall. But all of those options and all of those names, Ant, are 100% a possibility. And look, TCC, we know O-line is something that you guys are big on. Dylan Parham will be a guy that's probably going to be available in those range. But I agree with you, Ant. You just made the selection of Aaron Banks last year with the second-round pick. You took a guy like Jalen Moore a little bit later that you thought could develop and started a game for you and did a serviceable job in said game, starting at the tackle spot for you. I don't know if O-line is the pick. It doesn't feel like O-line is the pick. It feels like impactful player, either getting after the quarterback or helping your own quarterback is the option. Jalen Tolbert, another wide receiver who will probably be available in those spots as well. So they have plenty of wide receiver names that are going to be a possibility at that spot at 61. And a little bit before then, the question is, which guy would they want to go after and who would they pull the trigger on? And if they wanted to trade up, how far?
Yeah, I would be willing to trade up if I was going to be there at 61. Depending on if one of these edge rushers, Boy Mafi, Ebiketie, if Arnold Ebiketie fell, I think I would be willing to trade up for them. Christian Watson as well, because I think he's the perfect receiver for what the 49ers are looking for. A guy with a lot of range, a 6'4", over 200 pounds, that can run, anyone out of the building. I mean, the guy is, runs a 4.28. That's elite speed. The versatility to be able to play in the backfield, be able to do the extra things with the football, I think is something Kyle Shanahan would value. What value would the 49ers, feel on that? Would they be willing to give up future draft capital to be able to go up and get him? I know I would. I'm not the general manager of the 49ers, but if I was, I'd be going up to go get a Christian Watson or somebody that's an impact player. And if it wasn't Watson, it would be Ebiketie or Boy Mafi.
And listen, you saw my mock draft 1.0. I went up a long way to make sure I got myself a Boy Mafi.
Yeah.
I agree with you on that. Either one of those guys are absolutely home run. But Cutback Crew, what do you think? Who do you think the 49ers are going to be attacking at pick 61? Do you not care? Is it best to play a player available? Or is it best player available at a specific spot? Or is it a specific individual? Let us know right now in the comments section down below. And while you're doing that, don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, because we got more picks coming and we got more spots for the 49ers to draft and more players to potentially target and for the 49ers to be looking at said spots. So we want to hear from you. We want to see you over on those videos as well.
Yeah, and I want to put your feet to the fire right now. Ebiketie, Boy Mafi, or Christian Watson. So you could have one of the edge rushers or Christian Watson in a trade up. Who do you get?
Christian Watson.
There you go.
And that's saying something, because anyone who was here when we first started talking about wide receivers, I was not on the Christian Watson train. The more film I watched, the more I fell in love, the more dynamic things that I saw out of him. And with all the concerns and questions about Deebo Samuel, if you're a 49ers fan, you get a dynamic talent who do a lot of different things. Maybe you feel a little bit more comfortable. You sleep better tonight.
Definitely like the dynamic things and the versatility that he would provide. And he's the perfect complement to the wide receivers you already have. Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, Ray McLeod, and Jawan Jennings. To me, that's the perfect five guys. It's a nice complement to each other. So, yeah, I'd be willing to go that route as well.
Wide receiver room is set at that point, and you don't even need to necessarily address wide receiver the rest of the draft. Nope. If you go after a Christian Watson, maybe you get some guys to fill at the back end, but you can also do that in free agency. So, TCC.
Hello, John Ross.
Hello, John Ross, indeed. TCC, we'll catch you on the next one, and until then, stay safe.
Remember, the right way is always the 49ers way.
You stuck around all the way to this point. Well, I hope by this point you've at least liked and subscribed if you haven't already. And there's some cards over there, Ant, too, with some other high quality videos they can check out.
Yeah, click one of the links and watch one of the videos. It's going to be great.
We'll see you there.